Jess Franco's Monster Mash, kind of like your House of Dracula, House of Frankenstein, Paul Naschy's Assignment Terror. I wouldn't mention it in the names with those other films because this is pretty friggin' horrible. This is this is a bad movie. And when you make a bad movie with Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Wolfman, I mean, you really got to try. What's funny about Dracula versus Frankenstein coming out on Blu-ray, excuse me, I called it Dracula versus Frankenstein because that was the original name. It's out on Blu-ray as Dracula Prisoner of Frankenstein. Either way, take it back a little. I first wanted to see that movie when I was in high school, and when I was in high school, the movie had already been released in theaters well over 15 years earlier. It was released in the United States as it was released on video, VHS, as The Screaming Dead. And it was through Wizard Video, which was essentially, Wizard Video was one of those companies that brought the grindhouse to the video store. For those of you, who don't remember the very early days, and I'm not talking about Blockbuster, I'm not talking about Hollywood Video or any of that, bullshit. I'm talking about the original storefront, mom and pop shop video stores that were generally, they look exactly like they were. Somebody opens up an empty retail space and they put a bunch of shelves in, they throw a bunch of movies, and people would rent videos like crazy, especially in the 80s when all that was new and not entirely new, but accessible. Wizard Video put out Sweet Sweetback, they put out Zombie, they put out a bunch of other movies. And what I mean, the early days, there was a significant grindhouse drive-in influence because that stuff made money. I mean, you did sleazy, crappy films, sometimes exploitation, sometimes exploitation gems that people still watch today, like Zombie, and the sleaze factor, the over-the-top nature, the weirdness, the wildness of it all. It attracted eyes, it attracted attention, and it attracted money. And if you look at the original box cover art for The Screaming Dead, it looks kind of like a softcore R-rated film when it's not. It's barely R-rated. I mean, I would call it a PG-13 movie. But it's funny because Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Wolfman were really old hat in the 80s. They were on their way out in the mid 70s in terms of TV and popularity in the movies and all that. So they didn't really want to promote Dracula or the classical monsters on that box. And I think it probably disappointed the hell out of a lot of people. Now, I knew the monsters were in it because I used to read the fanzines, but that was one Wizard Video that never made it to any of my local shops. I mean, sometimes it was hit and miss. You didn't always get everything that came out. I mean, kind of surprising because every other Wizard Video movie found its way to those stores. Not that I would have been happy, but the good old days of video, yeah, that was backed by a lot of exploitation, a lot of grindhouse style sleaziness that made a lot of money then. It would make a lot of money now, but it's for, you don't have access to that type of stuff. And quite honestly, some of the box art on some of those VHS tapes they would not fly today.